There's some hesitation in doing this piece of programming because to get it right, we're going to have to learn a new part about Python and some new data types. We do have enough information to help us make a start with it, but it's not necessarily easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it in the main program. I'm not going to start thinking about functions to begin with. Normally I would, but as you have not got the necessary knowledge at the moment on the functions, I'm going to leave that till later. So really what I want to do is find out how long these strings are, these two strings, and determine which one is the largest so that I can pad that particular string. And I've got three versions, one where the first one's shortest, one where the second one's shortest, and one where they're equal. Now I can handle that with an if statement. So if I put in a few lines, I can have an if statement. Now what am I trying to do? I am trying to work out whether string 1 is larger than string 2. So I can type that in. If b string 1 is bigger than b string 2, then I am going to put some code into here. Now what happens if b string 1 isn't? What happens if b string 1 is smaller than b string 2? Or I could write it if b string 2 is greater than b string 1. It doesn't really matter which way round I do it, I can just reverse it. So see if you can follow along. But I'm not going to use an else, and at the moment all we've used is an if something is true, then an else, and what happens if it's false. But I've got three things to check, so I can't just say, well, if that's true, do this, otherwise do this, because I won't be able to compare whether they're the same size. And so I can't just write an else, otherwise it's going to take both of these as that else statement. So I've got to write sort of another if statement. I could write it like this: if b string 1 is smaller than b string 2, then do this. So that would work. What I wouldn't get is when they're equal. And then if I tried to do here, sort of pad the string, I'd probably be passing in these two with nothing to do. So I've got to be very careful how I lay out my if statement. And really, rather than do an if and then an else, what I really need to do is use one of these as an elif. So what's going to happen is that it checks whether the b string 1 is bigger than b string 2. If it isn't, it checks if it's smaller than b string 2. If it isn't, then it's going to do the else. And I've just written pass in there. Pass does nothing at all. There's no code in there, but it won't make it crash if we're writing the programs. What I'm going to do now is put a print statement in here, just to let us know. Print string 1 is larger than string 2. Whoops. And I can copy that print statement and put it in there. String 1 is smaller than string 2, and I can put a print statement in here. They are both the same length. Now this is not going to work at the moment. Let me just put a gap up here so that we can see. We're just working on this block of code. What I'm going to do is get rid of this. So that certainly will crash the program. We're working on this block of code and we're checking bstring1 bigger than bstring2, but we can't just say that. We've got to find out the length, and we have sort of already done that in one of our programs. So let's see. So in general, no. All in one. Yeah. What we did is we found the length of the string length here, by using this function len myBinaryString. And we're going to use this technique to find the length of the string. We're going to compare the lengths, not the actual string. So if I go back to my main program, all I need to do is precede that with len, and that will give me the length of the string, not the actual string itself. Do the same with that. That's going to work by comparing the lengths and not the strings themselves. So I should be able to find out which one is the larger and which one is the smaller. And there we go. So I can now run my program and put in two strings. So let's go. Enter the first binary number 111 and the second binary number 1111. So the second one is longer. String 1 is smaller than string 2, as we can see. Run the program again. Let's change that around. So this time I'm going to make the first string longer, 1111, and the second string smaller. String 1 is larger than string 2, which is what we expected. The third test is when they're of equal length. So 1111, 1111, they are both the same length. So I've now got the technique of comparing how long the strings are and which one is smaller, which one is larger. So I've got the start of what I need to do to actually pad the smaller string with zeros. And we'll look at that in the next video.